All right, let's get this sucker live. I think they need to make a 50 Creedmoor. I think that would be really, really cool. So, all right, guys, it says we are live. It says we are live. Welcome to Caliber Corner, episode number 110. And today we're going to talk about 45 Raptor, 50 Beowulf, 6.5 Creedmoor, and a lot of other good stuff. We got a couple people hanging out on the panel with us here today. Real quick, let's go ahead and see who's joining us over in the chat over here on the YouTube side. We got Mad Sexy 45 ACP 40 millimeter fat and slow is the way to go. All right, Mad Sexy. I like that name. Snob's Wife 76 in the house. By the way, she was the first one here. Tacos and French Fries is joining us. Jason Stewart is with us also. Let's see who else is out there. Then there's me chiming in over there, Snob's Wife 76. And that's it. We'll have a lot more people joining in as we are live here in the chat. And again, we're going to continue the caliber discussion. So the calibers we're going to talk about this evening, these were all suggested at my last 224 Valkyrie giveaway video that we did. And these are the prominent calibers that people were asking for. They want some information on it. Now, we talked about most of these before within about the last 9 months on the channel, but there's a lot more developments now. There's a lot more firearms that are available, a lot more ammo out there for a lot of these calibers we're going to talk about. Prices have definitely dropped off a lot, and we'll kind of see how it goes. So, all right, Georgia Trucker 69 is joining us too. So welcome to Huya Bar and Grills in the house. Kingpin is out there and over here. Yoder, Texas is saying hello. And 10x shooters, 10-time shooters, LLC is out there. 10x shooters or 10 power shooters or 10-time shooters? I'm thinking it's 10x shooters. So, all right, welcome to the show, everybody. Let's let the panel introduce themselves, and we will go from there. So, Squib's joining us. Squib, how's it going, man? What do you know?
You know, working as usual. Appreciate the invite.
Mm-hmm. So, what do you got for some upcoming content on the channel? Any? Can you give us a little spoiler about what's coming up?
Yeah, sure. So this summer, I played with some tannerite, and I made three videos on it.
Nice.
Yesterday, I published the mixing tannerite video, so you can see how simple it is to mix.
Okay.
And today, I published the first one going off. Tomorrow will be the second one that went off. The other 5, 6, 7 did not. No matter how many times I shot them, no matter how many rounds went through them, they just did not go off. I went on the company website and couldn't find any evidence that there's an expiration date on them. There's nothing on the packaging. So I'm not sure exactly what happened. If you look at today's video, you'll actually see the second shot. I took the lid right off the container and it still did not explode. So
wow.
What are you shooting?
Binary is not. It's not as easy to use. It's not as dangerous. I'm not saying I want to be standing next to it when it goes off, and especially if there was 10 pounds of it. But
what are you shooting it with?
I was shooting it with 223 and 5.56.
Yeah, the only thing that I would suggest is shake it up a lot longer. Like if you shake it up for a minute, shake it up for 5 minutes.
Okay. Okay.
And that'll really help. That you have to have at least a 223 round to set it off.
It's the speed. It's the speed of the round, not the diameter. If you shoot it with subsonic, it will not go off.
Yeah, it needs that friction going through there at that high rate of speed and high heat to set it off. And if it's not really, really, really mixed well, like ridiculous, like that's what 5 minutes is probably a good time of shaking it to get it really, really mixed well. You'll get a nice, good boom.
Okay, so this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to take the remainder of the tannerite that I have, and then I'm going to buy some new tannerite next summer, and I'm going to reshoot this. And we'll go ahead and mix it up for like 5 minutes and see what happens. I appreciate the input. This is one of the nice things about this group on the internet, on gun channels and YouTube and Gunstreamer and GunTube and all that, is that we can network out and share information, and then you guys can get a hold of this too. So I'll go ahead and try that next time I shoot it, but it won't be this winter. It'll have to be next summer. And then today I was at Cabela's and ran into an anti-gunner, and I had words with her, and I felt compelled to make a video about it. So I actually published 2 videos today. Today's the video talking about what happened at Cabela's was kind of impromptu. I didn't put in all the details. I did try to put a little bit more in the comments or the description box in the video, and it's nothing. It's there was no scuffle. There was no physical altercation. No cops were called. Nobody was ejected from the store. Nobody was asked to leave. Nothing like that. But it was just if you've never had, air quotes, the conversation, because people always talk about, we need to have the conversation. Okay, well, I've had it before. I've had it before on more than one occasion. I had it long before I was ever on the internet or any of that garbage. And today I had it again, and I wanted to describe what happened and my feelings immediately after it happened. I mean, I had an hour drive home anyhow, so I wanted to describe that. So I went ahead and made, I think the video is like 13 minutes long, but I more or less just kind of do a stream of consciousness like any of my other speaking squibbish. So there, you know, at one point I said something like, you know, people who don't want to see just the police and bad guys have guns, when I meant to say do want to see just the police and bad guys have guns. So I was a little flustered when I said it. So just kind of read between the lines, and you'll be able to figure it out. You know, if you even want to hear it. If not, you know, 13 minutes of your life you can't get back. So
no, I think it's good because we need that practice and thought process when it comes to speaking with people that are not pro 2A, that are anti-gun. You know, because you're going to hear the same bits of evidence from them, and we've got our same argument we use. It's nice to be able to get an edge to try to get through to some of these people if possible. What was she doing at Cabela's? Was she protesting out front? Because that's a good place to pick a fight with somebody that's pro 2A.
It was her and her husband, and he was trying to talk her into them getting a BB gun for their son or grandson, their 8-year-old son or grandson. I couldn't tell by her age if it was their kid or it was their grandkid, because nowadays, I mean, you can be 40 years old and be a grandparent, right?
Oh, yeah, pretty much.
And she wouldn't make eye contact with me, so I didn't get a really good look at her face. So she kept looking away. I tried to get her to make eye contact, and she wouldn't do it. But her husband was there, you know, doing the whole, hey, let's get him this one. And she goes, no, that's a killer's gun. And she pulls out a bolt action, and she goes, let's get this one. This is a hunter's gun. And, you know, so she wasn't totally anti-gun, but she was the whole, no. And I said, do I do this or not? And you know what? It's not always the time and place to do it. I said, screw it. I'm going in. And, you know, I described how I felt going in, and most of what I said. You know, I left out the part where I said, you know, everyone in my family has an AR-15. My children have AR-15s. We go to the range and shoot them together as a family. And more or less, she called all of us criminals if we own one of these killer's guns. You know, she even said you could mow down an entire high school with this thing. I mean, she's saying this loudly in Cabela's. She wasn't yelling it, but she was saying it loudly. And she was trying to draw attention to herself. And she did, because I decided to walk all the way over there, couple aisles over, and I said I'm gonna do this. So like I said, it's not always the best time or place. You got to pick and choose your battles. It may be, and I might have been talking to a wall, but then again, they might have had a conversation all the way home. Maybe he decided to man up and go, look, honey, here's the deal. You just told that man that everybody who owns a gun that looks like this is a criminal, and that's not true. I don't know. Maybe the guy was kind of browbeaten. And, you know, it's just like, and I'm not saying that, you know, men need to run the house. No. And I even say that in the video. It's a two-way street. You know, if you are in a relationship and she is anti-gun, I don't know why you got in that relationship. But, you know, I went at it from the standpoint of safety. If you've got an 8-year-old son or grandson and you expose them to guns, they're going to be a lot safer when they get older being around guns. They're less likely to have an accident. They're less likely to screw off with one with their friends.
They'll respect them because they understand them.
How many times have kids had no exposure to firearms and they've gotten a hold of a gun and it's gone off and somebody's gotten killed? Last year in Pontiac, Michigan, some scumbag ditched a .32 automatic in a backyard when he was running from the cops. And at a later point, the kid that lived there found it. So he called all his friends over to show it off and shot his friend in the face, because none of them knew how to handle a gun. They didn't know to go get an adult. They didn't know. They were all curious. They wanted to know, you know, about this gun. And you hear stories about that all the time. None of these kids have ever been exposed to this stuff. And I'm not saying that just because you get exposed to a gun, you're going to become a gun owner or Second Amendment advocate. But then again, maybe you do. You know, maybe it helps make you make a choice about a career the rest of your life or whatever it is. And, you know, she seemed to be one of those people that guns are just for hunting, and guns are not just for hunting. And I tried to do my best without turning it into a fight. And, you know, it's not the first time I've done this. It's not the first time I've talked to somebody who's had no exposure to guns and said, let me take you to the range. I'm taking him to the range. I saw that this weekend. On Sunday, I was sighting in my Henry one last time, taking it out there before I go hunting. And there was a guy there who his girlfriend is from Spain. There's a Spanish automotive company. There's a lot of foreign automotive companies in the Detroit area. They have R&D centers and factories and stuff here. And she worked for a Spanish automotive company. And she brought one of her Spanish coworkers who's never touched a gun before in his life. And him and his son taught this guy how to safely use an AK. He was so excited to shoot this AK, this scary gun that everybody, and they were going over safety, and she was translating into Spanish for him. You would have loved it, Travis.
Oh yeah,
and,
I had a colleague that was from Spain too. I took him out to the range. He freaking loved it, man. He thought it was like the coolest thing since sliced bread, man.
So you know exactly what I'm talking about.
Oh yeah,
these are the ways that.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm sorry.
No, I was gonna say they have guns in Spain, but just it's a lot harder to get them than it is, and you're caliber limited. They're a lot more expensive, and there's certain conditions you have to have. You just can't go find a field and shoot your AR-15 like you can here,
These are the ways that we're good ambassadors to the Second Amendment, whether it be for people here or for people that are visiting. And these are the way we display the kind of people that we want in our community, that I believe are in our community. I know there's always, somebody that's kind of off over here, off over there, has strong feelings this way or that way, and whatever. But the fact that somebody can do that, can take some of the time on their Sunday and expose somebody to something that maybe they get interested in, or then again, maybe they don't, but at least they've got a little bit more. They're not just talking out of their butt when they're saying these things are bad or they're good. They've actually got some hands-on. And I just think that this woman today at Cabela's was not being fair to her son or grandson, wasn't being fair to her husband, and was definitely vilifying anybody who owned this particular kind of gun, because only a killer would own this. And it really, she more or less called my sons and my wife and myself a killer, and that's what triggered me. That's what caused me to walk over there.
Yeah, that's and a lot of times it just takes a little bit of education, and it takes a little bit of some conversation and some just get these thoughts in their head that they're very wrong, and a lot of times they've just never had that kind of opposition before. So, hey man, hats off to you for taking a stand and defending us, because that's it gets to a point where I was actually in a coffee shop, and there were a couple of guys sitting there talking about firearms, and the guy was talking about how an AR-15 pistol is, it's a good way to he said, to kind of weasel around getting an SBR, what do we call it, your tax stamp or whatnot. And I was like, look, guys, I said it's not the same thing as an SBR. I said there's a lot more options with the SBR when you're outfitting the firearm than there is with an AR pistol. I said it's not the same thing. So to sit there and say an AR-15 pistol and an SBR AR-15 are they the exact same thing? It's really not. It's really not true when you think about it. They are not literally the same thing. So, but anyway, sometimes you just got to do that. But all right, man, we're gonna go ahead and move on. We're gonna let Honda go ahead and introduce himself. Honda, welcome to Caliber Corner, man.
Oh, I'm sorry. Is the gun criminal done speaking?
Oh man, I think so. So, Honda, why don't you tell us a little bit about your channel? What can one find if they come check out your channel over on YouTube?
Well, I definitely don't think that 9/11 was an inside job or anything like that, or that guns are good. Like that's all crazy talk. All that conspiracy stuff that those guys talk about. I don't know, man.
Oh man. All right, so you got a little show that you do. You want to tell us about it? Some
it's
frogs,
called the
Frogs Having a Conversation.
It is a weekly podcast called the Gay Frog Chat at 9 p.m. East Coast Standard Time on my channel, eHonda. We basically pick a specific conspiracy theory, and I do a bunch of research, and we go over what's known about it, the facts. We separate fact from fiction. We debate. We have a good conversation for about an hour and a half, and then we shut it down. And then it's a once a week thing. And this last week we did rules for radicals, and we basically took the leftist playbook that they've been using and the Antifa model and all that stuff that they've been doing since Hillary Clinton and Barack Obama, and basically tried to extrapolate the rules that they've been using to defeat us to apply to the Second Amendment. And it was actually a really good chat, dude.
Well, it's pretty simple formula, too, in the back of the head when you're walking to get some bread with your wallet in the back pocket, right? That's the rules they follow, right?
Well, I mean, the rules for radicals is more like,
I'm just joking.
How do you incite someone to have that mentality where they're going to do that radical thing, and then you can stand back and be like, oh, and reap the benefits.
Yeah. Interesting stuff. They are great chats. you guys definitely need to make sure you check them out. They're very interesting to listen to, and you get a nice, intelligent argument for the point that you're trying to make, and that's what I like about it. It's definitely refreshing. It's good to listen to.
Yeah, I'd try to be
Good
like
stuff,
Alex
man.
Jones if he cared. I don't know.
just not quite as energetic and flushed while you're speaking, guys, right?
No.
All right, man.
Lower
We appreciate you being here.
Much lower blood pressure.
Oh yeah, there you go. Heck yeah, yeah. And you're not advertising for silver or whatever it is that he advertises for, or what is it?
Yeah, we don't have any erectile dysfunction pills for sale or
Hey,
anything.
Brain Force is 50% off right now.
Black Friday special, buy one get one free.
The problem is it's always 50% off right now.
That's what's awesome about it. It's 75% of the time. It's 50% off 100% of the time, right? All right, man. All right, so moving around the circle here. Kingpin in the house. What's up? How you doing, sir?
I'm good, man. Thanks for having me.
All right, appreciate you being here. Do you want to tell us about your channel? What can one find if they stumble upon it?
I'd rather tell you about my friend Rick Mitchell's channel. It's Rick's Life as I See It. Every Wednesday at 7 p.m. Eastern, he does shooting with disabilities. Feel free to email him at Rick's Life as I See It or spottedrick@gmail.com with any of your questions or comments about shooting with disabilities. And then Saturday at 3 p.m. Eastern, he does just kind of a politics and Second Amendment free-for-all chat. So definitely go check out Rick. He's a good dude, and he does a great show.
If you get a chance, you want to post a link to his channel over on the comment side so people can check it out if you get a chance?
Yep. Sure.
Thanks, man. Awesome. All right, moving on. We got Rich White. Rich, what's going on, brother? How you doing, man?
Hey, how's it going, guys?
Doing all right. So tell us a little bit about your channel. What can one find if they stumble upon your channel?
A bunch of back episodes of This Week Unloaded, which is a live show that's done Sunday evenings around 8:30. Sometimes we don't get started till 9. It just depends on how late we are and how good of a pre-chat we're having. Because sometimes we get carried away in the pre-chat and we lose track of time.
I think we should just start the episode with the pre-chat and then just say, okay, we're going to officially call ourselves live now and then, because the pre-chat conversations are awesome. Unfortunately, that's where some of the best dialogue happens, and the post-chat too. So, yeah.
Yeah,
now, you said 8 o'clock, 9
a
o'clock. Are we talking Central Time or East Coast time?
Eastern
time. I always call it East Coast. We're just used to calling it East Coast and West Coast time. So,
yeah.
The
problem with doing the pre-chat or post-chat on the channel is if you're trying to do a family-friendly show, sometimes the pre and post-chats aren't very family-friendly.
And we can be about as gossipy as a group of 7th grade girls sometime too. So, or 7th grade boys for that matter. So, yeah, it's, we kind of got to watch what we say. But
did you click the little kid box when you were filling out your internet YouTube forms the other day?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I've taken care of all that. I did not say, I said appropriate for 18 and below, but I said that no, it's not kid friendly. I mean, I try to run these kid friendly, but you never know if there's going to be a slip up, or if YouTube considers gun content a not kid friendly topic, then we could get nailed for it later on. It's not right now from the way that I interpret the rules, but at any point they could say gun content is no longer going to be an under 18 accessible content, even though kids should be practicing and shooting and learning about firearms as early as possible, but YouTube doesn't want that. So
yeah, when I did last night, I clicked that it's not for kids, but that doesn't mean it's not family friendly at the same time.
Yeah, exactly. It's like you wouldn't want the kid just running around with this stuff, but at the same time, we're not breaking any laws. We're not doing anything illegal or immoral or dangerous for that matter.
I mean, I kind of clicked the, hey, if you're not 18, you shouldn't be watching this, and or earmuffs for children button.
You can do that too. That's under the advanced settings, isn't it? When you say you choose your channel as being kid friendly or not, and then after that you have the second advanced setting, which is optional right now from what I see, but I think it's preset to be appropriate for 18. We try to do that on this show too. So I mean, once in a while, there's some occasional slip ups and stuff like that, but for the most part, I think I'm starting to see that on a lot of our podcasts across the board. Really kind of watch the language a little bit, trying to reach a broader audience, just trying to set maybe a good example for other people out there that want to get into Pro 2A content. It'd be nice to know that you could sit around this chat and listen to it with your kids, or if you got some teenagers or whatnot. So,
yeah, last night I had 2 people say a bad word on the show. One was my wife, and the other was my strike.
Now you should. I was gonna say you should make her apologize, but
well, I will attempt to freaking
There you go.
Not cuss for you all night.
I appreciate that. Thank you so much, man. I appreciate that. We've only got an hour to go, and then after that, you can just let it rip on Matt's show if you want to. So,
having some of these chats playing in the background at work, it's pretty cool because you can play it in a relatively, you don't think every other word's going to be F word or whatever. Plus, having these chats running, I've had a bunch of people come up to me and ask me what you guys are talking about, and I've given away, I'd say, a good 20 Every Second Matters cards just by having Guns Channel chats playing while I'm at work.
Yeah. All right. Well, I got to get this out here. This is going to be the comment of the week. This is something. If anybody there has kids, or you've got maybe some young people that are in college right now, Voltron Defender of the Universe did something, and I got to give. This is Parent of the Year right here. Years ago, I made my teen live a day under communism. They were only allowed to listen to patriotic music and was only allowed to draw patriotic art and was only allowed to watch PBS. So if you want to teach your children about communism, that would be the way to do so. And if they do like that kind of thing, then that child may be beyond hope. That's all I have to say. So I don't know. But I thought that was kind of a funny comment that was made over there. Also joining in, guys, we've also got DTemp62 joining us. Poor Conservative is here. And I saw a little Midnight Range TM out there too. So, all right. So, guys, we're going to go ahead and, a couple quick announcements here. I'm going to be posting a coffee review on my A channel. And I usually keep them on my B channel, but I've been trying this company's coffee for about a year now, and I want to try to get them a little more exposure. They make really good coffee, and we're going to do a giveaway for Blackout Coffee Company next week on Thanksgiving Day, and I'll be posting a video this Thursday. It's my initial review of their coffee, of their flavored coffees, and we'll be doing a live giveaway on that, so be watching for that video. They're going to give away a coffee sampler and one of their kick butt mugs that they make. They make these really cool ceramic mugs. Big ones, like tankards practically. And then after that, I'll be doing a part 2 for that coffee review also. I've got plenty of gun content coming your way, so don't worry about that, guys. And then also at the end of November, if you're a patron of mine, and for a minimum of just $1 a month, you can be a patron. I do a Patreon giveaway, and I'm going to be focusing on the AR-15 for this month's Patreon giveaway. And I'm going to give away lots of goodies for your AR-15, so it's going to be pretty sweet. And I also throw some Gun Channel stuff in there too, some stickers and things like that. So, all right. So we're going to go ahead and get started here. So Storm and Norman Gunworks reached out to me and said, hey, man, you got to talk about 45 Raptor. He goes, you're talking about these alternative calibers to 5.56 for your AR platform rifles. He goes, you got to look into 45 Raptor. So just running this around the panel real quick. Have you guys ever heard of 45 Raptor before? Are you familiar with it? This is a legit caliber, by the way. This isn't something I'm making up. This is not my April Fool's video from last year.
Not until Storm and Norman said something about it.
Yeah, I saw you guys were having a chat about that. Yeah.
I've heard a little bit about it, but I don't know anything about it at all.
Yeah,
So-
I think I've heard of it, but like getting into a new caliber, like what's the benefit of 45 Raptor over something else?
Oh, we're going to find out. This one has definitely got my attention. First of all, you can get uppers in 45 Raptor for a couple $100, $200, $250, somewhere around there. And real quick, we did cover 350 Legend over on This Week Unloaded over on Rich White's channel. So make sure you guys check that out. 350 Legend was covered there. And then we covered 450 Bushmaster and 458 SOCOM. On Caliber Corner, we talked about the ballistics and so on. Well, 45 Raptor is quickly becoming the Mac Daddy Hattie Caddy of the straight-walled cartridges. And I want to talk about it real quick. I've got a little bit of history behind it just to let you know about it. And so here's just a quick history of 45 Raptor. When you hear the ballistics on this stuff, it is very, very impressive, and it does make you want to consider picking one up. Now, it's designed for the AR-10 platform, so if you've got an AR-15, I don't believe that the 45 Raptor upper is going to work with that, but we need to double-check me on that. You might want to fact-check me, because I thought it was going to be for an AR-10 platform. But if you have an AR-10 lower...
It is.
AR-10 or AR-15?
AR-10, yeah.
AR-10, okay.
Does Palmetto have one?
It also goes by. See, 45 Raptor is a registered trademark, and I think, isn't it also, or is it the 12 by? No, it's not what I'm thinking of. I don't know if they make one or not. You guys need to check and see. Yeah.
My AR-10's a PA-10. That's why I'm asking. So if I'm even interested in getting it, I wouldn't want to get a new lower if I can just use a lower that I already have. And I guess it's a DPMS pattern. So if DPMS makes one, also that would work.
That's what I was wondering, if it was original AR-10 pattern or the DPMS pattern. So it is DPMS.
Okay. I don't think that.
Well, no. Wait, for the upper to fit, does that or is that just for magazine?
That's for the upper to fit a PA lower. But
Okay,
magazines should be interchangeable. Magazines should just be the regular AR-10, like P-mag should just fit in
whatever
that
standard
lower
that's
end.
called. Yeah.
And I would assume there would be some variant of that for the 45 Raptor.
So which lower will the Raptor fit then?
AR-10.
For sure.
DPMS pattern lowers. Which
Okay.
I can't remember what the alternative is called. Remember we discussed that in one of our discussions on 308. That's what isn't it? Isn't it Armalite that makes their own pattern
I thought it was
of AR-10? I can't remember what theirs is called. Isn't it like LR3? I can't remember what it was, guys.
Yeah, LR308. Yeah.
Yeah. That has its own like
the
kind of
Armalite
style
pattern. Yeah.
Okay. So you want to go for, you guys might want to check PSA and see if they have one for it. I looked around for like complete firearms, a little bit pricey, but you might be able to get yourself an upper that you can use for maybe $500 or $600. I don't know. We'll have to look around and see what we can find. So a little bit on the caliber itself. 45 Raptor, if you guys aren't familiar with it, it's a rimless centerfire cartridge developed for the AR-10 semi-automatic rifle for medium and large game hunting compared to similar big bore cartridges designed for the AR-15 such as 450 Bushmaster, 458 SOCOM, and 50 Beowulf. The 45 Raptor offers higher velocity bullets, a flatter shooting trajectory, and the ability to reliably feed hollow point ammunition. It was introduced in April 2014. 45 Raptor was created by Arnie Brennan. Brennan is known for his prior work with the 6.5 PPC cartridge for long-range shooting, which contributed to the development of the 6.5 Grendel cartridge, and the cartridge design is owned by Brennan's company, North American Sportsman, which, again, ammunition could be interesting. We need to see what's out there for 45 Raptor ammo. So, guys, if you're not familiar with how we do these podcasts, especially when we talk about a caliber of firearms, we'll talk about the history of the caliber, what weapons are available for, what kind of firearms are out there for, and then also what you're looking at for ammunition costs, because that's a big one with a lot of these calibers. 45 Raptor straight wall cartridge that mimics the size of the 460 Smith & Wesson Magnum. Unlike the 460 Smith & Wesson Magnum, 45 Raptor has a rimless design that improves its ability to feed in semi-automatic firearms. The rim matches the specifications of a 308 Winchester cartridge. The first 2,000 pieces of cartridge brass were processed at Sadin Rifle Barrel Company, and again, it kind of goes on a little bit about the cartridge itself. To convert an existing AR-10 from 308 Winchester to 45 Raptor, a new barrel with extension needs to be installed. Additionally, existing magazines will need to be modified. Oh, there you go. The existing bolt and all the parts do not need to be changed. So it could be, let's see, Brennan moved the feed ramp from the AR-10 barrel extension to the detachable magazines. According to Brennan, this alteration is one reason why 45 Raptor can feed wide mouth hollow points better than competing cartridges. Standard straight wall magazines are modified by shortening the follower and installing an insert that includes a feed ramp. So that's what you're going to have to do to the magazines. Either run pre-assembled proprietary magazine or modify your existing 308 magazines to make them work. Curved magazines cannot accept the insert and are therefore incompatible with the 45 Raptor conversion. Magazine capacity is not altered. Now, ballistically speaking, this is where things start to get interesting. 45 Raptor is a relatively flat-shooting cartridge to 200 yards. From muzzle to 200 yards, there's no more than a 3-inch riser drop with bullet weights going from 185 to 300 grains. This means the shooter can shoot into a 6-inch diameter circle at all distances to 200 yards with no holdover. Now, North American Sportsman has filed for a trademark on the term Raptor as it relates to ammunition. And in an interview, Brennan states that he has no intention of charging royalties for the use of the trademark. However, Brennan stated that there will be certain requirements for anybody developing 45 Raptor products to ensure a minimum level quality. So you'll see other companies making 45 Raptor ammunition. I was going to check it out over on AmmoSeek to see what they say about it. Now, let's just talk about ballistics here. What are we looking at? This stuff, way more powerful than 458 SOCOM or 450 Bushmaster. 160 grain Barnes TAC XP is running 3,000 feet per second with 3,197 foot-pounds of energy out of the barrel. I'm assuming this is a 20 or 24-inch barrel. 325 grain Barnes Buster is 2,150 feet per second with 3,335 foot-pounds of energy. So how does that compare to 4570? Can anybody give me an idea on that? Or what are we talking velocity and energies?
I don't know.
Yeah, or even 308 for that matter.
Well, 308's like similar speeds, but it's a lighter bullet and not as much like energy on target. If you hit something with it, it's not going to transfer that kind of energy into it.
Let's see here. According to North American Sportsman, the cartridge is acceptable for taking medium and large game, including hog and deer. I would hope so. 180 grain nozzler, jacketed hollow point, 2,800 feet per second, 3,133 foot-pounds of energy. And I mean, it's anything from 3,100 foot-pounds to 3,700 foot-pounds of energy, depending on what bullets you're running it and how you're loading it. You've got some pretty substantial performance from it. So, Squib, did you manage to find any firearms chart or the chambered for 45 Raptor at all when you were talking to Storm and Norman? Because he was talking about, an abundance of firearms that are available for it.
No, but I started to do some research. I ran into some walls, and then I said, all right, I'm kind of walking away from this. But you're changing my mind, getting me go back to being interested. Here's the thing. I was trying to find a complete upper. I just want to slap an upper on a lower and call it a day, right?
Yeah.
And the wall I ran into was call for pricing. As soon as I see call for pricing, I'm done. If you can't put out-the-door pricing on your website, here's the part number, here's the description, is it in stock, and this is what it costs.
I agree.
I'm done. I don't like this call for pricing or put in cart to find price. All right, I'm done. That's not just for gun stuff. That's for pretty much anything. I've got to really, really want it to go to that extra. You're hiding something. So for you to say that, didn't you say it was like starting at $200 for an upper?
No, that's not for 45 Raptor. I was mistaken.
Oh.
That's actually 50 Beowulf. Bear Creek makes one for 50 Beowulf. I don't believe they make one for 45 Raptor. They don't do a lot with 308, to be honest with you.
And the reason I'm kind of leery of that is because of the next caliber you're going to talk about, which is 50 Beowulf. Alexander Arms has controlled that for a long time, like 20 years or some crap. Okay.
Yeah.
I mean, for you to say that Bear Creek's making an upper, that's great. It must maybe a patent's, dropped off, or Alexander Arms has finally decided to license some stuff out. But other than making your own reloads, they've controlled the ammo. They've controlled the uppers. For the longest time, they didn't make any lowers. Not that you need a special lower, but they finally got into the lower game. But I have contacted Alexander Arms directly, and they're jerks. It's kind of like, hey, we've got it. You want it. You're going to pay what we want. And I don't like that with any caliber. I really don't. And that's not to say that if I didn't have the money, I might not get something special or have something, a gunsmith modify something or restore something or put some money into this or that. I'm not saying I would never have a, $3,000 rifle or something. But for me to get into an AR platform when I could just buy a 450 Bushmaster off the shelf, right? Having something like call for pricing or saying we're proprietary. So the fact that they're willing to work with other manufacturers, I don't know, their only concern is that the quality is there, but they're not going to try to control it like Alexander Arms has. That's kind of promising. I'm still kind of put off by the whole call for pricing thing.
Yeah, I'm seeing more barrels for sale. So a lot of people are retrofitting their 308s to make it work. 16, 18-inch, 45 Raptor barrels for $310. But then, you've got it. I mean, that's probably not a big deal to some people to swap out the barrels and then get the modified mags and then go to town. I wish that we could just get a nice, fair-priced, fully assembled upper for, because I'm really interested in this caliber. I mean, it is a beast, man. I mean, that would be, you talk about a, straight wall cartridge, guys, those of you that are in one of those states that's limited on your ammo. Man, you want to drop a moose?
Now, see, what's the overall length on that? If it's over,
we are looking at 2.3 inches.
Yeah, it's too long in Michigan for me. It's 1.8 inches, I think, in Michigan for the.
No.
I think it is
case length, 1.8 inches.
Okay. Then
overall length is with the bullet in it. It's 2.3. Sorry about that.
Okay,
yeah.
then it's at the max that we could use here, and I'm sure other states have got something very similar. So it's still okay. I kind of want it, but I kind of don't. If they, have something out there that, all right, here's a complete upper out the door, and here's mags. You don't even have to modify them. We'll just sell you the mags. How much? And I'm not one of these people that doesn't do any work. Obviously, I reload, right? I know there's some people out there that don't want to do, but for this, I just want a complete upper. I don't want to have to modify them. I don't want to be filing away at mags or anything else like that. If all it is putting an insert in it in a mag, then okay, that's fine. But if I got to start dremeling and all this other stuff, I'm not interested.
So let's just at least look at ammo and see what we're looking at. Okay, so there's plenty of listings. Okay, there's 14 listings on AmmoSeek for ammo. Underwood 45 Raptor, 240 grain XTP jacket at hollow point, 20 rounds per box, $37.82, $1.89 a round. I mean, for what you're getting, for what that round can do, and there is readily available brass, by the way. That's not an issue at all. You can buy the brass. But it's funny. Some of these companies have limitations on how many boxes you can order too.
Yeah. Now, the reason that might have cost so much is because it's Underwood. Underwood is some premium ammo, uses Lehigh Defense bullets. So that's why you're going to be paying the top dollar for Underwood.
And that is the only ammunition that I'm seeing on all of AmmoSeek for 45 Raptor. So you probably want to look at hand loading it if you're really going to get into this.
Right. And if you're already loading 45 Colt, 454 Casull, or 460 Smith & Wesson Magnum, then you've already got the bullets, because that's the same bullet this would use.
So I mean, that's definitely very promising if you don't mind. It's kind of its niche thing right now, but again, without the ability of just being able to just go get an off the shelf upper, or I mean, there's companies advertising firearms. I'm seeing a 45 Raptor precision rifle that you can order that's $1,500, but without being able to get just a nice $500, $600, $700 upper that you can put on your AR-10, that's really reserving it from taking off like 350 Legend is starting to, and more with the 450 Bushmaster and the 450 SOCON. So it's me more criticizing the industry for not getting somebody on board with just mass producing an upper so we can make it the new standard. I'd love to have something like that. That would make one heck of a home defense firearm, or that would make a nice up close and personal woodland deer gun or a hog gun. I mean, those ballistics are off the chart, man. I mean, I would love to have a nice short range firearm with that kind of power. So, the price is fine for me. The ammo's not the big deal. This isn't going to be my plinking gun. This is going to be something that you can take out for some good solid hunts, and it's going to be a nice powerful round. It's going to humanely drop your large game. So Squib, I got to agree with you on that. Without like a mass availability of it kind of, I mean, I'm still interested, but at the same time, it's like I can't drop $1,500. If I had the money and I was curious about the caliber, I would consider doing it. I don't know.
Yeah, for me, I mean, I can make my own ammo. Getting a die set and doing all that is not a big deal.
Yeah.
So the cost or availability of ammo is not an issue for me. But yeah, I just like a little bit more transparency on components. If it's something where you have to buy a barrel, I've talked to Echo and the Bunnyman. He's an armorer. And he told me, oh, yeah, putting a barrel in an upper is not a big deal. It's, I'll show you how to do it. And I'm sure he would. Dead Horse is another good resource for that sort of thing. So it's like, I can do it, but why when there's, 100 companies out there selling complete uppers?
Yeah.
Maybe I got to make a few modifications, but that's bolt on. That's, there's driving out a pin or taking this off and replacing that. But yeah, you've got to get the head spacing just right on the barrel, and I just don't want to mess with that.
Here's the thing. You're looking at 450 Bushmaster, 450 SOCOM complete bolt action rifles for $400. I'm ready to go. I don't have to even worry about buying a lower. I'm all set to go. And granted, it's not 45 Raptor, okay, but still, it's like you got to get the mainstream production going if you really want the caliber to take off. I'm all for it. I think it's awesome. I'd love to have one. If somebody wanted to give me one, hey, I'll take one. If I had an AR-10 sitting around that I could modify, I'd consider going that route. But until we get the uppers out there, so Storm and Norman, if you got a link to some nice inexpensive uppers, I'll be more than happy to do a video on it, talk about it, show it off,
Yeah, I don't want to buy a barrel from company X, ship it to company Y, have them assemble it into an upper, and then I get it back, 6 months later, and then I've got to go and buy my lower and build that up and put it all together. And hey, what do you know? A year later, I've got something, and now I got to make shells for it.
Black Hat Outdoors is saying it literally takes 50 minutes to install an AR barrel. Oh no, we're not going to argue with that at all. And that's on a bad day. Constitutional Republican says, yeah, I mean, if you've got the know-how and you've got the tools to do so, you can buy that aftermarket barrel and you can get your mags. It would not be a big investment for maybe $400, you could get yourself a barrel and a couple mags and you could start shooting it. So, but you got to have that upper ready to go, or build yourself an upper if you want to, maybe make a kit gun out of it or something to kind of play around with. But again, all we're saying is that we're not trying to say that we're lazy, but it would be kind of nice to just to have something that's ready to go. I can just buy it and start shooting it, not have to worry about buying a whole kit to put it together. So now Blackout Outdoors is also saying ammo prices are not that bad. price the real big bore rifle stuff, sometimes like 458 Winchester mag or 416 Rigby, they're usually over $3 to $4 a round. Yeah, so at $1.89 a round, that's definitely fair for what it is. You're definitely getting you're definitely getting a lot of bullet for the money. So it's something to do. So, all right, guys, any thoughts on 45 Raptor before we move on? I don't want to rush it, but I mean that's really about all we have on it. That's what I'm seeing for ballistics are amazing. Just get more availability in production, I would definitely consider it because I'm not somebody that wants to do an upper build at this time. I want to just go buy an upper and just go shoot the gun. And that's a lot of people who are in my same kind of situation. So Honda, Kingpin, Rich, Squib, you guys got anything else to say about that before we move on?
Yeah, not really.
I still say Vince Carter's the better Raptor.
Oh man.
Which
one's faster? Which one's faster? Yeah. All right.
Vince Carter probably can't even jump higher than that. That might be the one thing that can jump higher than Vince Carter's the 45 Raptor.
That's right, man. Up to 200 yards, I think it would definitely give it a run for the money. So
Ford's going for Raptor, right? The pickup.
Yeah, Ford Raptor pickup. It could outrun a Raptor faster than a Raptor, faster than the entire Raptor team, right?
Oh, Vince Carter can outrun a Ford Raptor.
Yeah, there you go. All right, man. So that's my thoughts on that. Very, very impressive round. Would love to try it, but just I sound like a lazy gun owner at that point too, because it would not be a big deal to get one of these uppers retrofitted for 45 Raptor, but definitely I would consider going full bore with reloading if I was going to buy something like that, just for cost sake, and then also having a little more availability of different bullet types too. So
yeah, also all right, about the practicality. Are you going to do all that work to take it to the range once?
Yeah. Oh yeah, I would definitely use mine as a hunting rifle. Of course, out here where I'm at, it could be 100 yards or it could be 500, 600, 700 yards. It depends on kind of where you are and what you're shooting at. It depends. I mean, it's Nebraska hunting can be kind of interesting sometimes. So
yeah,
all right,
interesting, but around here it's not. There's no point. I mean, I'm lucky if you're lucky if you see a deer 200 yards away. If you're hunting with it, and finding somewhere that's that long a distance to shoot it on a range is, it's just stick with something in an AR-15 for if you're going to go semi-auto really around here.
Hey, we had mentioned Dead Horse earlier. He's out there in the chat watching. Dead Horse, welcome. Good discussion going on about some of these calibers. So, all right, let's go ahead and move on to 50 Beowulf. And this is one where I know for a fact you can get uppers for just a couple $100 if you want to. But again, we're talking about Alexander Arms, Squib, so you can chime in on this when we get through the history. So 50 Beowulf is a rifle cartridge developed by Jeffrey Uleton of Alexander Arms for use in a modified AR-15 rifle. So now we're getting back to that AR-15 platform. The cartridge utilizes a rebaited rim sized to match the rim of a 7.62 by 39 and 6.5 Grendel rounds. The case body is very similar in dimensions to the 500 Smith & Wesson Magnum revolver cartridge, being slightly longer and fully tapered for automatic feeding in the weapon. The round is intended to improve stopping power greatly at short to medium range as compared to standard 5.56 rounds. One of its advertised uses is at vehicle checkpoints. Since the heavy bullet's flight path is not easily deflected by auto glass or standard vehicle body panel. So if you've got a vehicle you need to stop, this would be definitely the round to look for. With normal bullet weights between 300 and 400 grains, overall cartridge length shorter than that of a AR-15 magazine well, and holding pressures to 33,000 PSI limited by the AR bolt string system. The 50 Beowulf is best described as a low-velocity, heavy caliber, making its ballistics roughly equivalent to those of early 45-70 government rounds, rather than the higher pressure rounds tolerated by lever action rifles. Yes, I said lever, such as the Marlin Model 1895. Adaptability is limited due to its use of a 7.62 by 39 bolt face. Proprietary status. Okay, 50 Beowulf is a proprietary caliber developed as a specialized cartridge. Alexander Arms and Delta Firearms oversees all aspects of the production of the system and related accessories. Their reluctance to divulge information has been a source of irritation to some writers, Squib, because Alexander Arms holds a trademark on the name 50 Beowulf. A number of other companies produce weapons and ammunition reverse engineered for the same dimensions under the generic name of 12.7 by 42 millimeters. So if you look for a 12.7 by 42 millimeter uppers, they're essentially chambered for 50 Beowulf. All right. 50 Beowulf is gaining recognition as a sporting cartridge. It's becoming widely recognized as being used for a wide variety of North American game, including deer, moose, and black bear. And the cartridge has its lineage in 50 Action Express, starting with the LAR Grizzly and in modern times, the Magnum Research Desert Eagle pistol, with significant modification to improve functionality and safety in the AR-15 rifle. All right, so from a ballistic standpoint, let's just talk 300 grains. What are you looking at? 1,870 feet per second. There's a 335 grain that'll go 1,900 feet per second. And then energy, we're going to go anywhere between 2,330 foot-pounds of energy for 300 grains up to 2,878 foot-pounds of energy for 400 grains. Now, that's with the Hawk JFP Alexander Arms bullet at 1,800 feet per second. So it's got the power. It's got the sheer amount of lead that you're going to be able to use to stop things. Again, I'm liking the fact that it can be used with your AR-15. I don't believe that you have to swap out any other components to make it work. Magazines, I'm not sure. I can't remember if it just loads right in or if you have to get specialty magazines. It might just go right into your AR mag.
No, I believe it just used a regular Stanek mag.
Okay.
If I remember correctly.
Yes, but they do have 50 Beowulf mags because there were people in Canada that were actually buying those because they're limited to what is it, like 5 rounds.
Yeah.
So the Beowulf mag held 5 rounds, but you could fit more 223 in it. So people were going. There was actually a story like a couple years ago. I think they got finally banned the practice of doing this, but people would buy the 50 Beowulf mags and use them for 223, 5.56 in Canada to get around the mag limit. Because technically they were buying a 5-round magazine because it was labeled as being a 50 Beowulf mag, but it would hold like 10, 15 AR-15, standard 5.56 rounds. So.
Now, we got a word of warning from Dead Horse out there, something to really consider. Very few companies make a 12.7 by 42 that has correct 50 Beowulf dimensions, close but no cigar. That means lots of stuck cases and other issues, which, again, it's sad that we can't get those specs out there for more companies to get into it so we can have a nice, healthy selection of uppers out there. Sean Pondry says, my local has one. Oh, they're talking about a different firearm right now. Yeah, so... Again, something to consider. You can get into it, but you're gonna start running into extraction issues. Let's look up the ammo cost and see what we're going to be dealing with in terms of ammo. There's plenty of uppers that are available out there too. I think maybe even Radical Firearms might make one for it. I know that the Bear Creek makes one too. So, all right. So ammunition, rifle, caliber, 12 point. What do we say that in, guys? That's 12.7 by 42. Is that right? 12.7 by 42. I think that's what I said. It's equivalent
I can't remember. The metric system always throws me off.
12.7 by 42. So ammunition, all right, also known as 50 Beowulf. All right, so we're looking at $1.17 a round. Okay. That's actually Alexander Arms' own ammunition for a 350 grain pleated round shoulder case of 200 rounds. You got to buy it by the case, which would be $232 for 200 rounds. $1.17 a round, not bad. 20 round boxes, we're looking at $1.17 a round also. $23.49 for a box. Let's look at some other grain weights here. 300 grain Underwood Arms bonded jacketed hollow point. $1.29 for a round. So that's not bad. I mean, that's pretty comparable to what, 458 SOCOM or 450 Bushmaster, which I think you can probably get those for a little bit cheaper. But the ammo itself is not as expensive as I thought it was going to be. So that's not bad. Looking at some 400 grain rounds here for about $2 a round. And again, if you have some sort of security detail or you have a legit need for something that's capable of stopping vehicles or cracking a block or going through the radiator and into the block for, whatever reason, that would definitely be the way to go. Or if you got some serious game to go after, consider it. Again, I would be, worried about the functionality of it, though, if the uppers are not made to the exact specifications. I'm surprised that these companies don't just buy an Alexander Arms upper and then just go off of the dimensions of that to make their own upper. That
would violate their patent
because they got the lockdown on every single aspect of that.
And that's my problem with Alexander Arms.
Okay.
They locked out the competition, and in doing so, they've limited availability. They control price. They control supply. They control variety. I understand from a capitalist standpoint, from a business standpoint, I get it. But as somebody who's interested in getting into it, I don't get it.
Man, that's kind of a tough one. Yeah, again, that part of the problem is I see these $200 and $300 uppers, and I just want to buy one of each caliber. I want to just start collecting them like watches or something. I mean, that's the problem with these inexpensive uppers is I want to try out some of these other calibers, and the fact they're AR-15 compatible, and a lot of the magazines I can reuse, or there's minimal modifications that really makes me want to get into a lot of these calibers that we're talking about, the 350 Legend and 450 Bushmaster and 458 SOCOM. So maybe we'll see reliability go up a little bit. Maybe consider, I don't even know if I'd even want to do my own build, to be honest with you, on something like that. Reloading shouldn't be too difficult. The brass is going to be out there for you too if you want it. But again, about $2 around, it's not too bad. Guys, any thoughts on 50 Beowulf at all? Again, I feel bad that we're not giving people more information, but there's just not much out there on, unless you start to get into a lot of the forums and so on.
Yeah, with the headaches involved with what Scott was just saying, I would just go with a 350 Legend or a 450. Or even a 458. I mean, it's much more availability of parts, easier availability of ammo, and whatnot. So, I mean, and you're not getting all that much more out of a 500 Beowulf. I mean, 50 Beowulf, to be perfectly honest. So, I mean, any one of those 4 rounds is going to kill a deer just as well as the others. So, I mean.
So looking at just upper cost, Alexander Arms has their own AR-15 50 Beowulf upper for $758. Looks like, there's also Atheris Rifle Company's offering one, but again, it's not made by Alexander Arms. $619. I'm seeing one for $549. If you go into AR15.com, there's a link for 50 Beowulf upper recommendations over there too. Maybe get into the forums and do some studying before you invest in it. Again, the idea is we don't want to see you just dive right into one of these calibers and then you're incredibly disappointed because the gun doesn't function the way it's supposed to, or the ammo is more expensive than you thought it would be. You want to make yourself definitely do your research before you buy into some of these calibers, because you're getting calibers that have been designed to work with the AR-15, and there's little things you got to take into consideration: the magazines, the ammo cost, the specifications of the upper, and so on. Let's see, joining in here, we've got PNW Woods is here with us, and Kingpin is out there, and again, SS Pond is here with us too. Good evening, Stan. Good to see you, buddy. Sean Pondery's out there too. So again, I think we'll start to see more and more, just as we've seen with 450 Bushmaster and 458 SOCOM, you're going to see more and more offerings from these companies out there. Because honestly, I think a lot of us are starting to get into some of these other calibers because we're interested in them. I think we're kind of at a point for a lot of us that are gun owners. We're passionate about our shooting. We enjoy our hunting, but we want to just try something new. And so that's why a lot of us start to look at some of these calibers, some of these obscure ones, or maybe, from a reloading perspective, it's relatively inexpensive to get into for us. Constitutional Republican says, I don't know, my 50 Beowulf is on an Olympic Arms OA 93 lower with a folding SB3 and a 10-inch barrel. That'll work. That definitely would, that'd make a nice brush gun. So again, 50 Beowulf, I don't know. It's another one to consider, but at the same time, you got to kind of know what you're getting yourself into. If you do, I'd say try it. If you want to do it. But definitely do your research on those uppers and make sure that they're manufactured to a quality that you're going to be happy with too. Let's see here. All right, guys, any final thoughts on 50 Beowulf? Again, just kind of racing right through it. I hope that's okay. But again, not a lot of options out there at this point, so nada. All right. So what we'll do here for the last part of the chat here is we're going to go ahead and start to look at 6.5 Creedmoor. And I did purchase a 6.5 Creedmoor rifle. I wanted to get one of the least expensive 6.5 Creedmoor rifles out there. So I picked up a Mossberg Patriot, right? Absolutely nothing fancy whatsoever. One of the most basic kind of bargain basement rifles that are out there. I think I've got a 20 or 22-inch barrel, 20-inch barrel on this. Fires just fine, shoots just fine, recoil is totally manageable. And I want to talk about why you should consider 6.5 Creedmoor. And I'm not trying to give preference to any one caliber, but you can get into 6.5 Creedmoor, and the ammo costs have gone down substantially, that you should consider doing so. Now, I haven't done any videos on this. I took it out. Actually took this on last year's deer hunt. I had a relatively inexpensive scope on the top of it. This, with core locked, with the cheap scope, I was shooting about an 1.5-inch, 2-inch group at 100 yards. I was not happy with that, so I actually did not use this as the rifle that we took out later on in the day, I actually went back to my my Ruger Ranch rifle in 7.62 by 39. I really wanted to use this. I probably could have used it had it been dialed in better. I do have a nice Vortex Diamondback 4-16 by 42 scope on it. It's like the HD series, I think is what it's called. And so the scope was almost as expensive as the rifle. The rifle itself was $250, maybe $275, and I think it came with an inexpensive scope I've already taken off. You do have your mounts up on the top of it. Synthetic, so you can get into 6.5 Creedmoor for very little money if you want to. There's a lot of people that say, "Oh, that's just the newest, fanciest caliber that people are jumping onto. It's the 5.7 for rifle guys or whatnot, or it's the hipster round." Let's talk a little bit about the history of the 6.5 Creedmoor, and I've got lots of different types of ammunition that I want to start testing on this. So 6.5 Creedmoor, this is probably like number 2 or number 3 for most requested calibers from the giveaway. So first of all, real quick, does anybody here on the panel have any experience with 6.5 Creedmoor at all? Squibber, Honda, Kingpin, Rich, you guys have a 6.5 Creedmoor rifle?
No.
I watched it on Nut and Fancy.
Did he really test one? Did he test that rifle or what?
No, I think he had something in the he had a semi-auto, but he was talking about the 6.5 Creed.
Oh yeah, it's definitely starting to take off quite a bit, just in terms, if you look at just how many the sheer number of firearms that are being offered in that. And the fact you can get into it for under $300. I mean, it alone is great. So what is it? Well, first of all, I got to brag about it because it is a Nebraska-made product. It originally, the original manufacturer of 6.5 Creedmoor was the Hornady Ammunition Company. Designed in 2007, produced in 2008. So it's been out for 11 years. It's not really the new kid on the block in terms of calibers. 224 Valkyrie is one of the newest long-distance calibers that's been released. So just keep that in mind. So a little bit about 6.5 Creedmoor. Let's talk about it. What do you need to know? There's a whole 6.5 spectrum that's out there also, and we'll talk about some of those other cartridges too. The 6.5 Creedmoor is a centerfire rifle cartridge introduced by Hornady in 2007 as a modification of the 6.5 Carcano and the 30 TC or Thompson Center, and is based on the 308 Winchester. It was developed in partnership by Hornady senior ballistics scientist Dave Emery, he's my hero, and Dennis DeMille, VP of Product Development for Creedmoor Sports, hence the name. The cartridge was designed specifically for long-range target shooting, although it has success in game hunting. Bullet for bullet, the 6.5 Creedmoor achieves a slower muzzle velocity than longer cartridges, such as the 6.5 284 Norma, or Magnum cartridges such as the 6.5 Remington Magnum. However, due to its overall length, it's capable of chambering in short-action rifles. And that's overall length of 2.82 inches. Let's see here. There was something else I wanted to mention. Oh, yeah. Why even consider going with it? In general, 6.5 bullets are known for their relatively high sectional density and ballistic coefficients, and see success in rifle competition. The 6.5 Creedmoor was designed for target shooting at longer ranges, and as such, couples a sensible case volume to bore area. Moving on about it, the 6.5 Creedmoor is capable of duplicating the muzzle velocity or trajectory of the 300 Winchester Magnum while generating significantly lower recoil based on lighter projectile weight. Cartridge is designed for a bolt face diameter of 0.73 inches, and conversion of a short-action rifle to another caliber, such as 22-250, Remington 243 Winchester, or 300 Savage, with a similar bolt face diameter generally requires little more than a simple barrel change, or on the Armalite AR-10 series, a complete upper assembly. So this is another one. So Honda, maybe consider this one for the AR-10. Oh, Armalite AR-10 series. If you can get a DPMS compatible 6.5 Creedmoor upper, that might be the way to go if you're thinking about going that route. Performance of it, medium power cartridge comparable to the 260 Remington and the 6.5 by 47 Lapua. 300-yard energy using 129 grain Hornady SST bullets is listed by an independent reviewer at 1,641 foot-pounds of force. So it's definitely going to have the takedown power that you need at a modest distance for hunting at 300 yards. And then you can also look at the ballistics on it as it travels. This is kind of an interesting quote here. Long-range shooter Ray Dog Sanchez summarized the bolt-action Tub 2000 rifle in 6.5 Creedmoor as boringly accurate at 1,000 yards. He asserted the rifle ammunition combination that he used to maintain sub-MOA groups at 1,000 yards. So less recoil than some of these 300 caliber rounds, nice long shooting distance, relative low cost to get into, low cost of ammo. Then we get in a little bit into the hand loading area. Now, in terms of military use, this is interesting. In 2017, USOCOM tested the performance of 7.62 by 51 260 Remington, and 6.5 Creedmoor out of 3 different rifles. And SOCOM determined 6.5 Creedmoor performed the best, doubling hit probability at 1,000 meters, increasing effective range by nearly half and reducing wind drift by a third, with less recoil than 7.62 by 51. Let's see here. Tests showed that the 260 Remington and 6.5 Creedmoor cartridges were similarly accurate and reliable, and the external ballistic behavior was also very similar, and it goes on and talks about it.
BVTV out in the chat was wondering if you had a round and you could show it.
Sure. Yeah, let me do it. Yeah, I was hoping you would ask. All right. So just again, getting into history a little bit, and it looks like SOCOM is going to be switching over to 6.5 Creedmoor as their sniper rounds. So let's go ahead and just check it out. So Remington Core Lock did not perform as well as I hoped it would in my rifle. Here we go. So here is your core locked soft point. I think with a better optic, core lock will definitely perform better because there's nothing against it. Core locked is a nice round. Almost kind of feels almost like a well, it's a little bit smaller than a 243 case, but there's that. And then what else do we have here? This is nice. This is from Garage Guns. He hand loaded some ammo for me, and I have not had a chance to test it yet, but I'm looking forward to it. This is 130 grain molybdenum, I can't even say, moly coated bullets. Velocity is 2,850 feet per second. And I've seen his results on this stuff, and this is shooting a half-inch group at 100 yards, or, I mean, just basically overlapping each other, the rounds were. So it's got this one. These are all ammos that I'm going to be testing on the channel with this rifle. Now that I've got a decent scope on it, we should be having some better luck this time around. I didn't even post my results on it because I was so disappointed with how it performed. All right, let's see what else we got here. I don't have, somebody says I prefer Federal. Yeah, I want to try some of the Federal Fusion. I just bought basically what Walmart had at the time. Winchester Y box, open tip range. This stuff was, I'm not kidding, this was like $10 a box. This was some of the least expensive 6.5 Creedmoor. I think I got it at Cabela's for $9.97 or $10.97. This is their 125 grain. So we'll test this also, just your basic full metal jacket. All right, so you got that option. Again, nice thing about it, you've got a very powerful round. You've got a nice long distance round, and you can get into it for not a lot of money. And there's nothing against 308. There's nothing against, Odd 6 if you want to go that route. We got some Hornady match here. This is 2,710 feet per second. You've got yourself at 300 yards. You got a 7.8 inch drop, which is not bad. At 400 yards, you got a 22.3 inch drop. Wicked ballistic coefficient on this, 0.326. This stuff is definitely slick. There you go. That's nice. I think I actually tested this with the Ruger Precision Rifle. I think it was the 6.5 Creedmoor. And this has the ELD X tip on. It's a special polymer that they use that doesn't deform due to high speed, so it's going to help maintain accuracy. These freaking sonar waves to actually test the stuff when it was in flight to see why the regular polymer tip bullets were not performing the way they expected them to. Got a little more, one more to show you here real quick. So as you can see, I got a lot of, I'm not being a 6.5 fanboy, I'm just stocking up because I want to test this stuff. Winchester Deer Season XP, I will definitely pick up a box of Federal. Constitution Republic says, yeah, white box is dirty, LOL. I know, man. I don't think I've even fired it yet. And then your Deer Season XP, again, I've always had good luck with the Winchester ammo for deer hunting. It's nice soft point. There you go. Check this one also. Is that it? I think I have one more tucked in here somewhere. And then what's... Oh, and I've got some Winchester Super X. Oh, that's 30-06. Never mind. But hey, we can compare real quick. Let's check out a 30-06 round compared to 6.5 Creedmoor just to kind of show you the difference on it. All right. So if you're going to get into a nice long-range round and you want to hunt, I would say definitely go 6.5. If you want to go inexpensive long-range target shooting, consider 224 Valkyrie. So just as a comparison, here's your 30-06 right here. And this is your 6.5 Creedmoor right here. So there's a little difference between the two. There you go.
I wonder how it compares to 6.5 Japanese. I mean, I'm sure it's slower, but I'm talking
the Arisaka and whatnot.
Yeah, I'm just saying, like, I'm sure it's slower, but I'm wondering, like, as a ballistic coefficient, if they made it somehow, like, able to fly better, or if it's that 6.5 millimeter projectile that's got some magicness to it.
I don't know. That's a good question. That's when we get into, maybe we can do an all 6.5 discussion next week where we'll get into 6.5 Grendel and the 6.5 Arisaka. And there's like 4 or 5 6.5 calibers that when you just type in 6.5, like on Wikipedia to just do a search on the ammo, that actually pops up. So, yeah. All right. So Black Cat Outdoors says, I like the Creedmoor, but it's just not enough. It's not just enough of an improvement over my 7.8 to switch, especially since I already have a couple loads in factory ammo that I know group well. Yeah, and that was part of it with me too, is I didn't have any other 308s or 30-06s in the gun safe. So I thought, well, let's just go with the 6.5 and see how it works. Again, it was not very expensive to get into, and it's a nice little setup that we got going on over here. You know, you can get yourself a much nicer rifle if you want to. I was also looking at going with the it's either Tika or Howa. Howa's got a nice rifle scope combo that you can go with. I think it runs around $500, maybe $525, with the optic already on there. And I probably should have gone that route in the end. But again, I'm just trying to see what is the least amount that a person can spend to get into hunting with these calibers.
So,
yeah,
real quick, you should post a link to the chat in the chat for Black Hat Outdoors so we can hop in.
Didn't I invite him? Black Hat, did I not invite you?
No, that's a joke.
Oh. Well, I did invite him, though, I think.
Did you not hear about what happened?
Oh, you mean about the picture that guy?
Yeah.
The picture that guy? Are we still talking about the picture?
I don't know. It's the first time I've seen Black Cat since then.
Okay, no, he's on my list. I invited 27 people. So it's I invite everybody, man. Nobody. Yeah, I've got Black Cat Outdoors on my list, so.
I was just joking.
Oh, I can just post the list. If anybody wants to join in the chat, we can. No, don't post the link. Do not post the link. No. That'd be very bad. That's the last thing I need. That would probably be the downfall of the channel.
Yeah.
That would be the collapse of the Travi right there.
Demonetized forever.
Mm-hmm. Pretty much. Yeah, I would have to definitely delete that chat, I think. So, again, okay, so looking at the 7.62 51 NATO versus 6.5 Creedmoor, they got similar dimensions. The same magazines can be used, and a rifle can be converted with just a barrel change. It says this led to the adoption and fielding by special operations snipers to replace 7.62 by 51 NATO in their semi-automatic sniper rifles. Planned in early 2019, so that change has already been happening, switching over to 6.5 Creedmoor. Again, you can get complete uppers. They're plentiful out there. Not a problem if you want to get into it. But guys, what do you think about this? Is this something to consider going into, or is this just a fad? Is this a legit caliber? What do you guys think?
Out of all of the calibers that you've talked about tonight, this is the most legit one, in my opinion.
Yeah, if it's being adopted by the United States military, it's right there.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
Not to mention, you can go on Palmetto right now and find a complete upper for 6.5 Creed that you can slap on any old AR-15 lower or whatever. Or I guess it'd be an AR-10 lower. I don't know. I'm not sure, but you can find them there.
Yeah. How much are we looking at? Are they talking any prices at all or not?
Oh, let me look. Actually,
did I put that?
I got a quick question for you, Travis.
Yeah, man, go ahead.
And you can dumb it down as much as you need to.
Yeah.
6.5 Grendel, 6.5 Creedmoor. Quick difference.
Well, that's. I'm glad you asked that question. Let's see what the difference is. Off the top of my head, let's just see what they actually say about it. Honestly, I can't tell you because I haven't looked much into 6.5 Grendel, but all right, let's see what it says here on this one. 6.5 Grendel, 6.5 by 39 millimeters, where 6.5 Creedmoor is. What do you say the dimensions on that were? 6.5 by. Where's that at? I'm trying to find it.
Okay, so Palmetto makes their own proprietary PA65, right?
Okay.
Which is a different lower than the PA10 and the PA15. You can get the complete rifle built, sent to you for $800. They have a upper by itself for $499, and I'm not seeing a lower by itself.
Okay. All right, so a little bit about 6.5 Grendel, which we can spend a little bit of time maybe talking about it next week. But again, developed by Arnie Brennan, Bill Alexander, and John somebody, I can't pronounce the last name, as a low recoil, high accuracy cartridge specifically for the AR-15 platform at medium to long range, 200 to 800 yards. It's an improved variation of the 6.5 PPC. And since its introduction, it's been proven to be a versatile design, is now expanding out to other firearms, including bolt-action rifles and the Kalashnikov system. 6.5 Grendel was a trademark owned by Alexander Arms until it was legally released to allow the cartridge to become SAMI standardized. The 6.5 Grendel's design goal is to create an effective 200 to 800 yard Sinang magazine link cartridge for the AR-15 that suppress the performance of 5.56 NATO. And constrained by the dimension of the magazine, the Grendel designers decided to use a shorter, larger diameter case for higher powder volume, while allowing space for a long, streamlined, high ballistic coefficient bullet. So I'd have to just do a head-to-head. Let's see if they mention anything here. I'm going to see if I can bring up a ballistic chart of 6.5 Creedmoor versus 6.5 Grendel. Probably should have brought that information with me tonight, but I wasn't sure if we'd get into it or not. So, all right.
Sounds like one is a full-size rifle cartridge and the other is an intermediate cartridge.
Too. Okay. All right, so differences between the two. Let's see here. Are the rounds interchangeable? A 6.5 Grendel is a super short action cartridge similar in casing size to the military standard 5.56. It is so similar in size that it can be fired from the same weapon as a 5.56 with merely a change of bolt and barrel. Not the entire carrier group, just the bolt itself. That is a cartridge intended purpose. It's an effective long-range round with a high ballistic coefficient that can be fired. 6.5 Creedmoor is a standard short-action link cartridge similar to 7.62 NATO. There we go. So think of 6.5 Grendel as, essentially the same thing as 6.5 Creedmoor, but again, a cartridge more adapted to 5.56 NATO. Let's see, definitely not interchangeable. Yeah, we know that. There are many 6.5 cartridges, but the 6.5 bullet is the only common physical trait shared by them. Ballistics may be similar with some of the loads, such as 6.5 Creedmoor, 6.5 Lapua, and 260 Remington. When compared to 6.5 Swedish Mauser, 6.5 Grendel, 6.5 Carcano, and 6.5 Arasaka, and other variants, they are very different. So, again, let's see. The short answer, they're not interchangeable because their casing dimensions are quite different. Okay, here we go. Let me do just a quick little screen share with you guys here, and hopefully this doesn't freeze up the computer at all. We'll see what happens here. Here we go. Share. All right, so here is your different rounds. 6.5 Grendel's on the left and 6.5 Creedmoor's on the right. The two cartridges have identical case rim diameters or profiles, very definitely 6.5. So there you go, guys. All right, so David, hopefully that'll answer the question. And again, I do apologize for not having that answer on standby, but I usually look up these cartridges before we talk about them, so you guys can see the differences between the two.
Yeah, you are way further in depth than I really needed to.
No, it's I honestly didn't know just off the top of my head the difference, because I haven't looked into 6.5 Grendel because, again, I'm just not shooting it right now, so I didn't know much about it. But
hey,
I will say this. Go ahead.
Sorry, I was going to say I got to make dinner for the kiddos and stuff before Matt's chat, so I got to run.
Problem, man.
But thanks for the invite. Totally cool.
Yeah.
I've definitely learned some stuff about what was it, the 45 Raptor, man?
Oh, yeah.
Sounds freaking cool, but
I like 45 Raptor. That sounds better if you ask me, but 45 Raptor's fine. So,
but yeah, until they get more of it, like more companies making uppers and complete rifles and stuff like that, I'm not really interested in it yet. But it sounds cool. Anyway, I'll talk to you in a bit.
Oh, I didn't see. There we go. Hey, joining us real quick is Calaveras 32 special. I only had one tab open, Calaveras. Yeah, you were down there below, hidden behind my menu. So, all right, Calaveras, you wanna go ahead and introduce yourself real quick and let us know a little bit. Go ahead, buddy. Take it away, man.
Hey, appreciate the invite. That's where I apologize for coming in late, and that's for just getting off work. But
yeah, man.
So that's where the topic. That's where it was the 50 Beowulf, the 6.5 Creedmoor intro, and what was the third cartridge again?
Tonight we talked about 45 Raptor, 50 Beowulf, and the 6.5 Creedmoor.
Okay, that's right. I'm not real familiar with those. That's where.
Oh, that's okay.
My question on the out of those, the one that 6.5 Creedmoor, I think deserves an entire show on its own. But that's where with the 45 Raptor. Does that use actual 45 rifle slugs, or is that like a 45 ACP pistol slug, or
45 Colt? It's a 45 Colt, 452.
Okay, appreciate it, Squib. Yeah, that sounds like it would be a pretty good option. I don't know for short range thumper in a that's still still reasonable reloadable, because the 45 Colt slugs would be easier to get than, I imagine, a 50 caliber slug trying to reload the Beowulf.
Oh yeah. Did you hunt with 6.5? Did you do your deer hunt with 6.5 or not?
No, mine, as a 308 win.
Oh, okay. I couldn't remember if you'd used it or not. So
No, it's on my list of calibers to get, but I want to put one together as a dedicated bench range gun.
Okay.
Because that's for the farthest I've stretched my 308 out is 440 yards.
Okay.
And I did it once, so that's where I'm very low hit ratio. But that's where sporter barrels, sporter stock, all this kind of stuff. I want to put together a heavy setup in 6.5 that I can just play with on the range.
Oh yeah, definitely. Let's see here. Looking at the comments real quick, guys. I'll go back and check out the comments and get a chance to do that earlier. Let's see. I'm not Will Rogers says I have a 6.5 PSA upper with a PSA AR-10 lower, and it's a tack driver. Yeah, it's a fantastic round. I will say this. So Squibload, when you were with me out at the range, those guys were having their long range shooting contest, and SS Pond, you can correct me on this. Doesn't 6.5 Creedmoor usually win the Steel Gong Challenge or the long range competition? I was thinking that's a round that tends to take it the most with the guys that shoot it out there. Now they're running some fairly serious rigs, but it seems to be the bullet of choice for the long distance shooters right now.
No, Travis, I remember you telling me this more than once. It's because you're so proud of your hipster round.
No. I'm just hipster rounds, man. This stuff's almost as old as me, man.
The winning cartridge, the winning caliber was, yeah.
I'm saying there's a definite. Again, I do like the 224 Valkyrie, though. That I think that has a lot of potential, just from a cost standpoint. If you want to get, I'm always about the budget prices on these things, trying to get into stuff for as little as possible so you can enjoy it more. Nothing wrong with enjoying the nice stuff too, but if you can get into some of these long range shooting calibers without having to break the bank, it definitely makes it a lot more enjoyable because you can get out and shoot a lot more often too.
If you can find a way to make it affordable, whether it be reloading, combination of commonality of parts, commonality of reload components, or manual of arms, or something like that, and you can find a way to make it more affordable, I absolutely support that. But I also think too that everybody should have one really nice gun. Yeah. Nice usually implies expensive, but expensive and actually worth it. Not expensive and look at me, I've got this, but it's junk kind of expensive. I think that, if you can afford multiple nice guns, that's great. But if you can save up or somehow or another get a good deal on a really nice, having one really nice gun in your collection that you can shoot, and that's something you can take out. And not saying you're not proud of your other stuff too, because your other stuff is it's going to get more heavily used. And having a variety is a great idea, especially if you want to introduce new people into shooting.
Oh yeah, definitely.
But if anybody's put off on, I don't, because you heard me at the beginning talk about, call for pricing and I'm out, right? Yeah. Well, that's not to say that I haven't had nice guns before. I don't have a few really nice ones, I think, in my opinion, and they might be out of somebody else's price range, but then somebody else is looking at them going, I've got 10 like that. What's the big deal? And I can tell you just from personal experience, if you can just get one in all the time that you're collecting to have, it'll mean something to you.
Yeah.
But finding ways to afford it is, for the average working person like most of us, that's kind of part of the whole fun of it, right?
Well, and just, again, for a lot of us, it just means putting money back for a long time before you can get it. It's so hard to, with all the options that are out there, whether it's the financing or the credit cards, it's so hard to just not want to just go buy it and have it, and instead of just saving up for a while and then buying it, appreciating it maybe a little bit more that you worked hard to buy it, So Squib, off that rationale, would you talk to my wife? Because I really want to get a Scar H. Could you go ahead and give her a phone call and just say, hey, Travis really needs a good rifle in the collection. He needs a nice, really high quality, and so he's going to probably buy something around the $4,000 mark, and we'll see how she reacts to that.
Oh, I got your back. Yeah, there's no big deal. After I, explained to her about how all the interest on the credit card over the years really doesn't mean anything because, you're going to die with debt anyhow, she's in.
There we go.
A question on the on those long range. Do they, is the 6.5 popular because it, the 6.5 Creed because it bucks the wind, but also short action? Because that's where, I know it's harder to get around, but that's where with hand loading options, you can do it. Like say a 6.5 Swede or the 6.5 Lapua that you mentioned.
Yeah.
You're talking more powder room in the casing.
Yeah.
So in theoretic, you could start them at a higher velocity, so it's going to spend less time in the air. Have in theory have less drop and less wind effect because it's spending less time. But those don't seem to be as popular with the long range guys. Do you think it's because of the short action versus long action, or what would you say?
I think, well, a lot of these guys are doing their own hand loads too. I think they're just able to custom tailor it to work the way they want it to. But I mean, there's a lot of very unique calibers that those guys are shooting when they're there. So you might get that mix of what you were talking about before. But I really think it's just, again, availability of the reloading components, just the flat trajectory of it, being able to match it up with a good optic and having enough MOA. These guys can make it connect just about anywhere. That's a good question. I don't know. I need to ask them. Say, why are you guys choosing this caliber? What is it? And maybe it is the wind resistance, because you are typically shooting in a very windy area. There's a lot of, okay, Stan says less recoil, longer, flatter. Okay, and SS Pond, he does shoot out at that range too, so he would have a good idea on that. So Dead Horse is chiming in. He says, talking about 22 Nosler. We've mentioned that one before. We've talked about it before. That might be something. So Dead Horse says 22 Nosler beats 224 Valk hands down. Yeah, that's like the epic battle out there, because 224 Valkyrie was supposed to be the superior cartridge to 22 Nosler, but 22 Nosler is a pretty interesting round too. That's definitely one that we need to talk about in the future too. So yeah, I don't know. It's a good question. So
that's for 22 Valkyrie, as I understand, you use a Grendel case, for the base. Correct me if I'm wrong on that, but that's where it does. 22 Nosler, did it start, life with based on different casing that you can then form, or is it a standalone unique?
Good question. I am not sure. We need to look it up and see what the brand. Yeah, it's a good question.
I guess I'm throwing the hardballs at you tonight.
Yeah, man, you're definitely getting me on some good ones here. So I have to do some research on it and let you know. But just off the top of my head, I'm not sure. Dead Horse, if you can chime in on that. Need some backup, buddy. William Hall says, I've got a bolt action 6.5 Creedmoor, and I'm a stout believer. Wanting to get an AR-10 that is a Creedmoor. Any suggestions? I'm pretty happy with Palmetto State Armory. They make some great rifles. I know a lot of guys don't like them, but I'm a big fan of Bear Creek Arsenal rifles and uppers also. But there's a lot of companies out there. Let's just take a look real quick. We got a couple minutes, and let's see what's out there for firearms chambered in 6.5 Creedmoor in terms of semi-automatic.
Well, that's where, as my understanding, when it comes to, if he wants a attack driver, AR in 6.5, regardless of what brand you're up or what brand you're lower, the two pieces that I understand make the biggest difference is your bolt. So getting a quality bolt from someone that makes, that's known for that, with good tolerance, and then a quality match barrel. So you could take a match barrel, match bolt, throw it into a little bit more budget friendly chassis, and probably in the gun could probably outshoot most people that would pick it up.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Suggestions. Well, I guess if you're on the high end of things, we've got some Christensen arms out there you can go with. You're looking at probably around $3,000 to get into it, somewhere around there. You can also, Colt makes one for $14.99. Chambered in. These are all AR 6.5s. Diamondback also makes one too. We could head on over to 22 items found. I'm trying to find the next page and it's not popping up. Okay, what else do we have out there?
That's for AR pattern.
These are AR pattern. Yeah, well, they're going to
be
be AR 10 pattern rifles is what we're looking at.
Right, but that's for because of the reason why I was saying that's right. I know it's based on the AR 10, but that's for DPMS pattern or Colt pattern.
And it could vary by manufacturer. I don't know, because all I know is I know the PSA goes along with the DPMS pattern, but I'm not sure about the other companies. Obviously, Armalite has their own. They're the LR3 pattern. On each one of these, we'd have to click individually. I'm looking at several different manufacturers. POF makes one also if you want to go that route. Savage makes one that's going to run you about $1,200 or $1,300 for a complete rifle. SIG has one. You're looking at about $2,000. Kind of depends on what the budget is what I would say for the person that asked that question. And I mean, Diamondback rifles are not that expensive, and even that one's about $1,000. We might need to check over. Okay, we got an M1A. Granted, Springfield, but if you want to go that route, you can get that at 6.5 Creedmoor also for about $2,000 MSRP. Smith & Wesson has an M&P 10 that they make. So those are some of your options that are out there right now. And let's just do a quick little check here and see if there's other companies out there that offer it. So just checking out PSA real quick here before we go ahead and call it a night. Let's see, complete firearms. Let's see here. Let's see if we can check it out for caliber. Okay, so PSA is showing 6.5 Grendel. They've got $599 for now. If we're looking at 6.5 Grendel, again, that's not what we're looking at, but $649 for an 18-inch barreled 6.5 Grendel rifle. Need to go under AR-10s here real quick. And then also, okay, so PA-10 complete rifles, 6.5 Creed. Okay, they have 4. PSA has 4 options for you. There are 2 out of 4 that are currently in stock. So you can get into a PSA Gen 3 PA-65 with a 20-inch barrel. 6.5 Creedmoor stainless steel lightweight M-Lock for $799 complete. And the other ones just have different furniture on them and different rails. Otherwise, you can upgrade another $100, and that's going to get you with a nice 2-stage trigger for $899 is what you're looking at. So it's going to be $800 to $900 if you want a solid tack driving 6.5 Creedmoor semi-automatic. And then again, for ammo's sky's the limit on that. You can spend whatever you want on ammo. You can get Winchester white box for $9 a box, or you can spend as much as you want. So again, lots of options out there for you too if you want to go that route. All right, any thoughts on 6.5 Creedmoor, guys? Squid, Kingpin, Rich, Calaveras? Any more thoughts on that at all?
I'll shoot yours, but I'm not going to buy one.
Okay.
Yeah. I'm actually more interested in building a 6.5 Grendel. That was one of the things that was on my to-do list along with 300 Black Elk, but instead I got to build a 224 lower.
I'm sorry about that, man. I'm so sorry. We can buy one pre-assembled for $110 and you're ready to go if you just want a basic one from PSA,
Yeah, but it's all your fault.
Hey, you're the one that entered the contest, right? On a whim, right?
Yeah. The very last minute.
Hey, Rich, if you really don't want that upper, I can give you my mailing address.
No, that's okay. And by the way, the Valkyrie is based off the 6.8 SPC, not the Grendel.
Yeah. Because the magazine, I think it says 6.8 SPC on the bottom of the magazine too. I should have thought about that, but yeah.
Thank you, I appreciate that. That's where Grendel didn't sound right. That's why I was asking you guys to check me on it. But I appreciate you let me know.
Oh yeah, just thinking about the cartridge length too alone, it would have been 6.8. So. Yeah. All right. So
if I get into 6.5, I'm a lot more interested in 6.5 Arasaka, 6.5 Swede Mauser, or the 6.5 Carcano because I'm a Milsurp guy. So, there's options out there, right?
Oh yeah, 6.5 Mania, man. You can get rifles. You get rifle chambered in any caliber that you want anymore, man. I'm serious. It's sky's the limit, man. You're just limited by your wallet, basically.
Yeah, that's true. If I had the money, that's for to go Milsurp. That 6.5 Swede sounds like a nice rifle.
I've held one once, but I've never shot one. It was a pretty long rifle, but well balanced.
Dead Horse says 6.5 Creedmoor barrel life solely depends on how you break in the barrel, how hot you get the barrel, and your cleaning habits. Barrel life can be between less than 600 rounds up to 5,000 rounds. So to me, that sounds almost like 243 territory for barrel life. I'm Not Will Rogers says, look for these on sale on PSA. PSA is going to have some Christmas specials. Just have to wait. Yeah, that's true. You might see those prices drop down another 100 or 2. They might just be stockpiling 6.5 Grendel rifles or 6.5 Creedmoor rifles for the holidays too. So D-Temp says he's got to take off. So see you later, D-Temp 62. PSA is not compatible with DPMS style 308 ARs per their website. Oh, AR-10s are different, no standardized models. See, I always thought that PSA was the DPMS compatible 308 line.
No.
Are they
Yeah,
LR3?
sounds like they use the Colt / AR. Because my
LAR?
understanding, the LAR I believe is your Colt and your Armalite pattern.
Okay.
DPMS I believe is the secondary pattern. Mine, because that's where I was starting to put together parts so I could build my own, but then law changes and everything else, so I just stopped mid project. But so there's the two primary patterns with AR-10s.
Okay. All right. Constitution Republican says, I'll probably get a Remington 700 in 6.5. So, well, guys, we're at 7:30, so we're going to go ahead and call it. Want to get you guys all ready for the Guns and Geeks podcast over there on Never Enough Ammo's channel, which you guys would definitely check it out. Real quick, let's go ahead and see who was with us this evening. Or actually, let's let the panel give their outros real quick, and we'll see who joined us this evening, and then we'll go ahead and call it. And make sure you join us next week. We'll see what we're going to do. Maybe we'll get into a 6.5 Creedmoor versus 6.5 Granel discussion, or look more into 6.5 Mania, because there's so many 6.5s that are out there. Which 6.5 is best 6.5 is a question we might need to be asking. So we'll see. So real quick, Squib, you want to say anything on the outro?
Just thanks for the invite, and everybody have a good night.
All right, man. You have yourself a good night, too. Kingpin.
Good night, everybody. Thanks for having me, Travis.
All right. Thanks for being here, man. I appreciate it. All right. Rich.
Yeah, as I said at the beginning when I was doing my introduction, check out This Week Unloaded over on the Unloaded Media channel. We do a show almost every Sunday night. Lately, it's been hit or miss, but not Tuesday nights, 9 o'clock.
You got me, man. All right.
Yeah, but that's 8 Eastern-ish.
Yeah.
Over on the Unloaded Media channel. So yeah,
depends on how intense the pre-show chat is, right?
Yeah, exactly.
How upset we get in the pre-show chat before we can straighten it out before we go live, right?
No, we just get carried away and don't even realize what time it is. It's like,
and then it always leads to like Transformers or Star Wars, and
you never know what we're going to talk about in the pre-chat. Sometimes it ends up bleeding over. Actually, we like, hey, you know what? Let's stop. We'll start it all over again. We'll talk about the same exact thing once we go live. I mean, we've done that multiple times.
Right on, man. Right on. Well, dude, I appreciate you being here again, and I will try to get into your chats more often. Might just have to jump in when I'm driving back home and get in on your chats and start talking with you guys. So no guarantee on connectivity of the phone, but we can definitely try to make it work. So appreciate you being here, man.
Yep, no problem. Thanks for knowing.
All right, cool. And last but not least, Calaveras, 32 Special.
Appreciate the invite. Sorry for jumping in late.
No, dude.
As for 6.5 Mania, that sounds like bracket material right there to me.
There'd be a small bracket, it'd be like 3 and 3, and they just kind of like, I'd have to go round up all this. I'd be 6.5 what? 6.5 Lego? What the hell is 6.5 Lego? What? 6.5 what? And we start making up all these.
Somebody will throw a Slim Jim in there and just mess the whole thing up.
6.5 strudel. It's the newest hottest thing coming out of Germany. 6.5 strudel.
I'm sure if we look, I'm sure we could find at least 8 seed to pull that one off.
6.5 Inuit Eskimo, that'd be a good one too. It's
I think it'd be worse if you try doing it with 9mm.
Yeah, there we go. No, it's cool, man.
9mm out there.
It's good that we've got this plethora of options in the 6.5 arena. But again, I'd have to really educate myself on a lot of these, because I just myself kind of getting away from 6.5 Creedmoor after last fall, just because I was now testing other firearms. It's like, man, I need to do some research on this stuff. So, man.
Rich, talking about the 9mm, kind of like that Tokarev that slipped through Travis's fingers.
Oh man, do we have to go back to that? No, it was a Makarov.
Makarov.
Yeah, the Makarov will never. I'm just gonna buy that thing, and it's gonna be bad. Is that Foos is gonna hold it hostage for like some ridiculous market price, but I'm gonna pay it because I have to have it.
Gunbroker.
But it's not the same. It's not that one that he has is really, really nice, and that's supposed to be
You
mine.
don't want it. It's tainted now. You don't.
No, it's not. No, it's not. Me getting it back is like me getting back my child that was kidnapped from me. That's what it is. It's me getting back that kid.
You have a very particular set of skills.
I don't know. I'm gonna find it. I'm gonna bring it back. I'm gonna go all taken on it. Taken.
Could you legitimately imagine doing a bracket on 9mm? You literally have rifle rounds going against handgun rounds.
Oh, it would be a bloodbath. And then you'd have those people screaming in the background, what about 40? What about 45? What about 10mm?
You literally could do a bracket just on 9mm, because you got all the different handgun varieties. even in today's modern 9mm, it's either 9mm Luger or 9mm NATO, and there is a difference if you watch Paul Harrell's video. Paul Harrell did a video comparing 9mm Luger and 9mm NATO. There is a difference. One is more powerful than the other.
Oh yeah, yeah.
I mean,
your 223 Remington versus your 5.56, but even that goes just yeah. There you go. We if we could do a bracket if you guys want to, we should just do like an all ammo bracket. It just turns into like a screaming fest by the end of it, we got to get some 5.7 fans in here with us too if we're going to do that, because we got to have some support for it. So just which round is the best all around bullet? I guess you could say round for all purposes. Ooh, that might be a good one. I don't know. But then I'm going to probably miss something that I wouldn't get that caliber on the bracket. And then you're going to have the hashtag not my bracket comments and so on. So anyway, I'm just kind of scheming for next week. So, all right, guys, I want to thank you all for joining us. This has been Caliber Corner episode number 110, where we took a sort of in-depth look at 45 Raptor and checked it out. We also looked into 50 Beowulf and just started to talk a little bit about 6.5 Creedmoor and our thoughts about it, feelings on it. I think it's a great round. Definitely check it out. If you want a nice long distance round that's going to deliver power where you need it, do check it out. But again, there's nothing against 308, 30-06, or any of those other rounds that are out there. They're all good. There's enough there's enough room in our homes for all these calibers to coexist happily. So, all right. So joining us this evening, we had Constitutional Republican, New York Outcast, SS Pawn is out there. I'm not Will Rogers. Neither am I was joining in. Tacos and French fries was out there too. Let's see. Dead Horse joined us. Thanks for joining here, buddy. I should have sent you a link, man. I need to get you on there next time. Patrick was out there too. Patrick, thank you for watching. DTemp62, Black Cat Outdoors. Levi Palmer's also out there too, chiming in. William Holm was out there too, joining us. Who else did we have? Tahuya Bar and Grill. Calaveras was there and here. I saw a little Midnight Range TM going on. A little Gizzard Gary out there. BVTV says thanks. Well, you're welcome. New York Outcasts. I think I said that a couple times. Let's see here. And Stomp's wife, I think, was first. Is that right? Sean Ponnery was out there too. PNW Woods or P Northwest Woods was out there also. And I think that's about it. So if I missed anybody, I do apologize. And Rich White was out there and over here. So thanks for joining us. Check us out next week, 6 o'clock Central Time, where we will see what we're going to have for a topic. It could be kind of interesting. We've covered a lot of the calibers that people have asked for in my 224 Valkyrie giveaway. Also, don't forget, next Thursday, we're going to do a drawing for a free coffee giveaway from Blackout Coffee Company, and I'll make a video for that, probably Wednesday of this week, so I'll have a nice 7 days or so for you to comment on it, and I'll have the specifics for how to be entered in the drawing in that video. And then I've also got a couple coffee reviews coming up that I'm going to go ahead and put on my Travis B11 channel, even though I try to reserve coffee reviews for the B channel. It's, once in a while I like to kind of mention something a little bit different too. So there you go. All right, guys, we're going to go ahead and let y'all go. Y'all have fun. I want you to be safe. And as you know, we will talk to you soon.
Bye, Alicia.
Bye-bye.
All right. Y'all take care. Adios, Felicia. Te amo. And Dead Horse, don't worry about it, man. We will try to get to you next time, buddy. All right? You hang in there, dude. All right, man. Hang in there. Bye-bye.